What is up, Shazwiyt gang? It's your boy Shazwiyt, and welcome back to another video. Thank you for joining me yet again, and thank you so much for your continued support. If you're new to this channel and you're clicking on me for the very first time, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also turn on that post notification button so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. With that being said, let's get straight into today's content. Okay, let's get into it. How are you guys all doing? I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit stressed because there's a lot going on academically. I have a huge exam tomorrow in biochem that I was initially worried about, but I've come to peace with it because I'm at a point where I'm like, you know what? I know what I know. I don't know what I don't know. So it is what it is. There's not much I can do about it than to try cram or study as much as I can before the big day. But otherwise, I'll be fine. I was panicking a little bit before I started filming this video because I just found out there was a big assignment that is due tomorrow morning that I had totally forgotten about and only remembered it after a conversation with a friend. But it's okay because it's not that big. It's like a 3 to 5 page essay review thing for genetics. It's totally fine. I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, okay? I can do all things. But enough about my stressful life. Let's get straight into today's content. So, as you can tell by the title of today's video, I'm going to be reacting to conspiracy theories. Now, a conspiracy theory is basically a belief that a person has about a certain organization or a person. A conspiracy theory could literally be anything. When you think of conspiracy theories, you think about things like 9/11, or you think about the whole flat earth thing, how some people believe the earth is flat, and that's, I guess, a conspiracy theory. Now, conspiracy theories are like stereotypes. They tend to not be true, but also there's a possibility that they could be true. But most of the time, conspiracy theories tend to not be true. But there is, I guess, a sort of some sense as to why people would believe that. It's not really that it makes sense of how that thing would be true, but it makes sense, I guess, why people would believe that, I guess. Because people come up with defenses for anything nowadays, honestly. So they can be conspiracy theories about how, you know, colleges use the money they have to kill orangutans or something like that. You know, or there could be a conspiracy theory that there's some secret organization out there that is doing everything it can so that people don't do shit about global warming and continues to make like plastics and throws them into the ocean just for fuck's sake. I don't know. People can start a conspiracy theory about anything, and if you get enough people to believe in you, it could be some widespread indoctrination type, you know, propaganda type shit going on. Just like the kind of stuff you've seen throughout history, whether it's in Nazi Germany or whether it's in colonialism or whatever. So it's just really interesting to see what people believe in, which is why I chose to talk about this today. Because I think it's fun to see like crazy stuff that's out there and like see like what people believe in, what they think about certain things, and that's just what I want to do. So I'll link down the article that I got these conspiracy theories from in the description below so you guys can check it out for yourself. And basically, I'm just gonna be like reading sort of through these articles and giving you the basic rundown of these conspiracy theories, and then most importantly, giving my opinion on them. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. So on this website, which is from Time Magazine, I'm guessing there are 10 conspiracy theories, and I'm not going to react to all of them. I'm just going to react to the ones I think are the most interesting or like worth talking about. So let's start with the most relevant one, which is a hot topic right now and has been popular like for the past few months or like year, especially in 2019. And this is the whole Area 51 thing. So Area 51 is basically an Air Force base, which is located about 150 miles from Las Vegas, so it's in Nevada, and it's where government scientists reverse engineer the aliens' highly advanced technology. So that's the conspiracy theory. They believe that Area 51, this area which right now is literally used as a testing site for the military to like drop bombs and stuff. People believe that there are aliens there, that the government is like hiding these aliens and stuff. They're not. Personally, I don't believe in the existence of aliens. When it comes to aliens, I believe that they may be a possibility. I don't believe that they exist, but it's more of a see it to believe it type thing for me. Of course, it is crazy to think that we are the only living organisms, in this entire universe. You know what I mean? I would like to think that there's life out there beyond the Earth, as this universe continues to expand. And, I think they've discovered bacteria on Mars. I think NASA has done that, or astronauts or whatever. So there could be possibility of life out there, and who knows what it looks like. Who knows if it's there. So, see it to believe it. I know there have been UFOs spotted in a whole bunch of places around the world. I know here in the US, for example, like in Florida, Mississippi, and in other places, people have taken videos or like, seen like UFO sightings and all that stuff. And they've come like, people have said different testimonies. Like one retired Army colonel said he was given access to extraterrestrial materials gathered from an alien spacecraft that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, which is near Area 51. Some believe that the government studies time travel at Area 51, also known as Groom Lake or Dreamland. It's crazy. It's a crazy one. I don't think that there are aliens there. I don't think there's any good thing going on there. Probably in the past, maybe the military thought that there was something, and probably that's where like it got famous for like having aliens and stuff, but I highly doubt there's anything. So no belief from me. Let's move on to the next one. Another really interesting conspiracy theory, and this is one that I've actually thought about before, is 9/11. Okay, the 9/11 cover-up. So, the 9/11 conspiracy theory, from what I gather, is basically that 9/11 was actually an inside job that was actually done by the American government, and that Bush and like everyone in the White House was actually in on it, including the Pentagon and everything, and that they like organized everything together, and that it wasn't like the Al-Qaeda that like put everything together. It was actually the Americans. They knew about it this whole time. And the thing is that it could be plausible. There's a possibility, because if you think about it, like the US, like, and a lot of places around the world, in general, like everyone wants to use fossil fuels, and we need oil for like to power cars and all of these other things, and natural gas. So there is that whole theory that you can use, that they wanted to use 9/11, and they, as in the American government, wanted to use 9/11 as a way of finding an excuse to attack the Middle East. And there is a possibility, that is definitely a thing that could have definitely happened. Do I think that happened? As of now, not too sure. I don't really think so, but there's a possibility in it. I think it kind of makes sense, because there's so much shady shit that happens in the world that we don't know about. There's so many people behind the scenes who manipulate certain situations to their own benefit. So something like this wouldn't surprise me at all. So according to this, a May 2006 Zogby poll found that 42% of Americans believe that the government and the 9/11 Commission concealed or refused to investigate critical evidence that contradicts their official explanation of the September 11th attacks. Why had the military failed to intercept the hijacked planes? Had the government issued a stand-down order to minimize interference with a secret plan to destroy the buildings and blame it on Islamic terrorists? In 2005, Popular Mechanics published a massive investigation of similar claims and responses to them. The reporting team found that the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, did not have a history of having fighter jets prepped and ready to intercept aircraft that had gone off route. And while the team found no evidence that the government had planned the attacks, lack of proof has rarely stopped conspiracy theorists before. So, do I believe that that's what the government did? No, not necessarily, but do I believe that there's a possibility of some foul play to some extent? That someone in the White House knew something? Absolutely, absolutely. But it's just sad that 9/11, is what led to Islamophobia and all that stuff. That's pretty sad about the repercussions of all that. RIP to all the lives lost, but RIP to all of the Muslims and Arabs that have been affected by this negatively because of just the whole stereotypes that have come out from this, unfortunately. And, I just hope that what is happening in the Middle East stops. I pray for Syria, I pray for just peace everywhere, man. There's just so much shit going on. It's sad. But, yeah. So to end this off, what I think about the 9/11 thing? It's half. Let's call it a half fraction. That's like my fraction symbol. I know. Symbol. But yeah, that's what I think about it. Let's see. JFK assassination. I'm not really too interested in that American politics stuff. There's just so much of it already, which is what I just keep on talking about. But anyway, okay, there's this one that I'm not too sure about that I never really heard of, or maybe I have, but I just didn't pay attention. This is about the moon landings being faked. So it's now been 4 decades since Neil Armstrong took his giant leap for mankind when he landed on the moon, being the first ever person to land on the moon. So doubters say the US government, desperate to beat the Russians in the space race, faked the lunar landings of Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, acting out their mission on a secret film set. Ooh. Located, depending on the theory, either high in the Hollywood Hills or deep within Area 51. You see that connection to Area 51? It's always Area 51 with like anything like extraterrestrial or like, space related. It's funny, honestly. With the photos and videos of the Apollo missions only available through NASA, there are no independent verification that the lunar landings were anything but a hoax. The Smoking Gun, film of Aldrin planting a waving American flag on the moon, which critics say proves that he was not in space. The flag's movement, they say, clearly shows the presence of wind, which is impossible in a vacuum. NASA says Aldrin was twisting the flagpole to get the moon soil, which caused the flag to move. And never mind that the astronauts have brought back hundreds of independently verified moon rocks. Theorists have even said, see that shade that the Time magazine, let me say that again. So in parentheses, and never mind that the astronauts have brought back hundreds of independently verified moon rocks. Theorists have even suggested that the filmmaker Stanley Kubrick may have helped NASA fake the first lunar landing, given that his 1968 film 2001 A Space Odyssey proves that the technology existed back then to artificially create a space-like set. And as for Vigil 1, Grissom, Edward H. White, and whatever, were like the astronauts who died in the firewall testing equipment for the first moon mission, they were executed by the US government, which feared they were about to disclose the truth. What? That's amazing. Like, bruh. This is crazy. When you believe in a conspiracy theory and when you believe in stuff like this, you go the extra mile to do your research on these things and to just come up with the craziest stuff. That's the funny thing about these conspiracy theories. Sometimes all you can really do is just laugh at it and be like, okay, yeah, that's what you believe in. That's your belief. Stick to your own opinion. That's what you do. And besides, even if somehow these things were true, this was true, either way, Americans were still the first to land on the moon because it was a long time before anyone other than the Americans would land there. The Russians got into space first, but I'm not too sure when they first got onto the moon. I think it was much later. But yeah, Americans, there have been plenty of astronauts that have gone to the moon at this point. And besides, NASA was already made back then. There were, space shuttles and everything. So I don't really see any reason why they would, lie about that. You know what I mean? I know that America likes to boast about its successes, but they've definitely exposed their own failures, through time. Of course, they hate doing it. They hate admitting to their failures, but it's one thing that is just out there. And if there was any sort of truth to any of these things, we would have probably known about it by now. So what do I think about the moon landings? In total, I say, nah, no, I don't believe. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, so let's get into the next conspiracy theory. The next one is Jesus and Mary Magdalene. This one's interesting. So this one is one that I've heard before a lot, actually, as a Christian. If you're a Christian especially, you hear this one pretty frequently. Being talked about various people, whether they are Christian or not. It's just something that is interesting. So people believe that Jesus and Mary Magdalene might have been married, and some say that they might have had a child. So it is said that according to the Gospel of Philip, so they say that this is according to the Gospel of Philip. So for those of you that don't know, there's this thing called the Apocrypha, which are basically books that were taken out of the Bible. So the Bible isn't one book, it's a collection of books. And when the Bible was being put together, because the Bible is just a name for all of these books combined, right? So when the Bible was being put together, there were a group of people who were obviously putting the Bible together. And those people, who I'm guessing, were the Romans. Or was it the Greeks first? I'm not too sure. Or the Hebrews? I don't know. I need to look it up. But I'm guessing the Romans had the final say. Yeah. When the Bible basically was being put together by whoever, they basically were doing this whole canon process of choosing, okay, yeah, that book can go in. Nah, that book, nah, it won't. Nah, it'll go in. Nah, that's not accurate enough. It won't. So they had their own reasons for having certain books going and others not. I think it was just to do with accuracy, whether they believed in the events or not, or maybe they just thought that this wasn't a good representation of Jesus or other sort of things, or they felt that those stories weren't necessary for Christians. So the Jesus and Mary Magdalene thing, personally, I don't believe in it. But one thing I would have loved to have more of an insight to is Jesus's life, because the Bible is just so chronological and so straight to the point in terms of people's stories, because it's like you have Jesus being born, then him growing up as a kid, then it skips like decades up to like when he was like 30 and starting to spread the gospel. So there's so much in his life that we missed that wasn't necessarily talked about, because none of the gospels really give us an insight into his personal life. But do I believe in this whole he got married to Mary and all that? I mean, they were close, and she was like a huge disciple of his, like in terms of she was a huge supporter, follower of him, but I highly doubt. But let's see what else the article might say that might be of interest. In the Gospel of Philip, Mary Magdalene, who is referred to as Jesus's koinonos, a Greek term for a companion or partner, is depicted as being closer to Jesus than any other apostle. And there will be pictures that I'll be like showing as I talk about these different articles. There's this interesting one here, which I'm guessing shows Mary Magdalene on Jesus's leg. I think that's his foot. Yeah, on his foot. Which is ironic because Jesus used to wash the feet of people and stuff like that. So I guess that shows how she was close to him. In an exchange between Peter and Mary, he admits to her that the Savior loved you above all other women. A tense moment in the scripture that seems to portray the jealousy that the other apostles might have felt for Mary's relationship with Jesus. The only other evidence used to support the theory is a mention of Jesus kissing Mary often, but some say kissing was the custom and it was typical of Jesus to practice it with those close to him. Remember Judas? And that is true. Like, in many cultures, like quite a few cultures, kissing is very common, between people, whether men or women. In fact, one of my best friends, very close friends, he is Eritrean. In their culture, I went to a party at his place. I know his parents very well, very nice people. When I went to a party at his home, like when I was greeting his mom and his dad, they were giving me a kiss. So it's like hug and then mwah, 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 mwah. And that's just what they do. And that was common in Jesus' day too. Jesus would kiss his disciples. He would kiss obviously women too, like hi, whatever. That's just how they greet each other. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. So is there any reason to think that this might be possible? I mean, maybe, but guys, a lot of these things are far-fetched. Like, I don't want to believe in it. So, but is there anything wrong with Jesus having dated someone or been with someone? No, absolutely not. Realistically speaking, I'm pretty sure that Jesus, just like, all other humans, was attracted to women and wanted to date and all that stuff. I think it is possible that Jesus may have dated Mary or have dated some, women or girls along the way, but nothing beyond that, I highly doubt. Nothing beyond that. So yeah, that's what I think about it. Do I think it happened? No, but there could be some sense to it. Some sense to it. Let's see. Holocaust revisionism? Okay, before I get into that Holocaust revisionism thing, let me just look at one more of these conspiracy theories. Okay, this one says the CIA and AIDS. Okay, now there have been a lot of conspiracy theories about AIDS, how AIDS was created by white people to like wipe out black people. Now I've been in heated discussions with like my cousins about this, like cousin of mine, brothers and stuff like that. Some of my relatives, even friends, like we've talked about this, and I'm like, nah, fam, like it just doesn't make sense to me because AIDS affects people worldwide. Like, why would they suck at just anyway? It's a lot. Like, why would they suck at just leaving it in Africa? Like, because it's like worldwide, and it actually started in America, California, among gay men. So it's like, really, Africa? Like, anyway, I don't know. So, according to this article, since the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention first reported the HIV/AIDS epidemic in 1981, rumors have persisted that the deadly virus was actually created by the CIA to wipe out hundreds of thousands of people. To wipe out homosexuals and African Americans. Even today, the conspiracy theory has a number of high-profile believers. South African President Thabo Mbeki once touted the theory, disputing scientific claims that the virus originated in Africa and accusing the US government of manufacturing the disease in military labs. So you see, even Thabo Mbeki believed it. And I thought he was a smart man. Shade. Yes, I threw the shade. I threw the shade. I threw the shade. I threw the shade. Okay. When she won the Nobel Peace Prize, Kenyan ecologist Wangari Maathai used the international spotlight to support that theory as well. Like, seriously. Others insist that the government deliberately injected gay men with the virus during 1970 hepatitis B experiments in New York, San Francisco, and LA. Still others point to Richard Nixon, who combined the US Army's Bio-Warfare Department with the National Cancer Institute in 1971. Though the co-discoverers of HIV, Dr. Robert Gallo of the National Cancer Institute and Dr. Luc Montagna of the Pasteur Institut in Paris, don't agree on its origins, and most members of the scientific community believe that the virus was jumped from monkeys to humans sometime during the 1930s. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna believe the scientists, okay? Just like global warming and climate change, I'm going to believe in science, because science is objective. Science is objective. So I'm just gonna go with the scientists. If they say it could have jumped from monkeys to us, and they've plenty of instances where animals like birds and pigs and all that stuff have spread diseases. I am not surprised at all that it could come to us, because animals are carriers of disease, they bring to us, and then we're the ones who die. It's happened before plenty of times, like with polio and other stuff. So, do I believe in this at all, that AIDS was created to kill us off? No, I don't. But do I believe that, certain people have benefited from, certain populations of people around the world, whether they're African Americans or Africans themselves, benefiting from the deaths of those people? Yeah, to some extent, yeah, sure. I believe that, some people do benefit off of it. Like, for example, if you have an enemy with a certain person and you found out there was a disease in that family that could kill them off, and that like cancels a problem for you, of course you'd be excited about that. So yeah, like, why not? Like, in that sense, sure, but nah, guys. I'm gonna stick with science here. No, I don't believe in it. I don't. So the last one, which I would like to read upon, I've never heard of this, is called Holocaust Revisionism. Have no idea what this is about, have no guesses to what this is about. So it says, despite overwhelming evidence and an admission and apology from Germany decades ago, revisionists continue to claim that nearly 6 million Jews were not killed by Nazis during the Holocaust. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, for one, has called the Holocaust a myth and suggested that Germany and other European countries, rather than Palestine, provide land for a Jewish state. Unlike Ahmadinejad, most revisionists do not deny that Jews were interned in prison camps during World War II. Rather, they argue that the number of deaths was greatly exaggerated. Gas chambers are a particular sticking point. Holocaust deniers say they were purely a rumor, or if they did exist, were not powerful enough to kill, though evidence and history indicate otherwise, and the photographs of emaciated and dying Jews. Attorney Edgar J. Steele, a revisionist, says all those pictures of skinny people and bodies stacked like cordwood were actually of Czechs and Poles and Germans who died of typhus, which was rampant in the camps. Okay, but the thing is that if that's going to be your defense, saying that the pictures of people who were like in those camps were Germans, Poles, and Czechs who were like dying of typhus, I have a question. First question is, why were the people in the camps in the first place then? Why were camps even created? Was it to quarantine them? Is that why? Like what's the reasoning behind that? My second question is, actually this isn't even a question, it's more of a statement. Being Jewish is not a nationality. Judaism is a race. Okay? Let's end the confusion right there. Judaism is a religion, not a race. It's not an ethnicity, it is a religion. And there are different types of Jews. We have Israeli Jews, who I guess would be considered the most authentic Jews, or like the ones who are closest when it comes to being related to the Israelites of biblical times. And then you have Ashkenazi Jews, which are the ones who are basically white people Jews, like the Jews who are in Europe, and who comprise the majority of the population of Jews around the world. Ashkenazi Jews. So, Jews were German Jews, Czech Jews, there are Polish Jews, Jews from all over. You even find Jews in Zimbabwe. Judaism is a religion worldwide, just like how there are a lot of other religions spread worldwide, like Christianity or Islam, whatever. You can find those people anywhere, everywhere. So to say that these people you're talking about were dying of typhus or whatever were Jews too, could have been Jews. It's just so stupid. Like, the kind of defenses people come up with, it's just not sound in any way. Judaism is a religion, not a race, not an ethnicity. It's a religion, okay? Thank you very much. I have a friend who is an Israeli Jew. She is Israeli. That is her nationality. That's where she comes from. But what is her religion? She is Jewish. okay? Just because she's from Israel doesn't mean I'll call her Jewish. No, she could be a Christian, but she's from Israel. She could be a Muslim and be from Israel. She could be an atheist, but be from Israel, okay? Damn, people, don't be so thick. But anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that little video. I enjoyed spending time with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of whatever schedule you had or doing whatever to have fun with me today. And I hope that this video made you laugh or made you angry or, you know, sparked some sort of emotion in you. Because this was funny for me. I'm enjoying this. Even though I did risk not studying or doing some of my work, it was worth it. I love YouTube and like making videos too much not to do it for a while because it has been quite a few days since I last posted. But anyway, otherwise, thank you so much for joining me yet again. Please stay tuned for the next video, which I'll be posting this weekend. It's a really interesting video, and in that video I'm going to be having another special guest, one that you actually have not seen, so it won't be Sharpie or Danielle. It will be a new person, new to the channel, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a really exciting video. With that being said, love you guys. Thank you so much, Shazwiyt gang, and I am clear.